Hey everybody, we're right here with BigBeat. We're going to do our second interview today, and we're going to have a few special questions in it for you guys. Without any further ado, let's get started. So BigBeat, when you first hear the term national debt, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Oh my God, this debt is exploding. I haven't seen debt explode like this ever. We are looking at, once again, Congress having to raise the debt ceiling. Mnuchin and Commerce Secretary don't think it's a problem with that. I don't think so either. I think they'll easily raise the debt limit. I don't think it'll be a problem as we did last time, right? But the world debt is getting worse too as well. The new world debt number is 246.5 trillion.
Wow.
That is an exorbitant number. It's roughly over 360% of the world GDP over the number. So that means that they're not making enough money to even cover the interest payments on the world debt.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
I'm a nervous myself in this. Now, in addition though, China holds 1.1 trillion of our national debt.
Yes.
Do you think with the current tensions between the two countries, there might be an issue where they might call back on some of that debt?
Is there an issue? Yeah, there might be, but I don't think so. It would be like you own a car and someone's trying to call that car back. No, you really want the car. You need the car to drive, right?
Yeah.
China bought that debt as an investment, so they don't really want to mess up with their own investment. Will the tariff war be an issue? Yes, of course. But I don't think they'll weaponize that.
What sector of the national debt do you think that we are mostly focused on that we shouldn't be? Where we put most of the money where you see that it could be diverted into some other sector?
Well, obviously, the national debt is hurting us in a few ways, right? The interest payments alone are really they're breaking our back, shall we say? So we need to find a way to lower that side of the debt. When I say debt in general, I don't just mean the government debt. I mean student loan debt. I also mean subprime auto debt. They are exorbitant. Those are the debts of people that can't pay for their car anymore. And then, in the 2006 housing crisis, they couldn't pay for their homes. That kind of debt has now pushed over now into student loans and subprime autos. Things that we didn't even see to begin with are now really, really exploding. It's more or less, we've given people cars that they couldn't afford it, like we did with housing. We gave people houses that they couldn't afford it. Student loans, I had just spoken to one of our Federal Reserve members, Bullard in St. Louis, and he was saying that he felt that a lot of the student loan debt was not just because kids are going to school and not paying their loans back, but that it was places that were almost criminal in the aspect of, sign up here, you'll get a college degree online, and then, then they don't finish their schooling and they still owe the money.
Yep.
So that has really exploded in a way that we really didn't see before.
Wow. Now, in the Dow recently also hit 27,000.
Yep, 27,000.
That's a new record high. Do you think there's going to be a potential pullback? And how long do you think it will continue to be a bull market?
So it's about what time? 10:30, and I've been asked this question today 4 times already. Yes, I do think there's a pullback. I think that we've hit new highs with nothing behind it. We need a catalyst, right, in order to push the market higher. And in the past, our catalysts have been a few things, mainly earnings. And you'll notice earnings season has just started with us, but earnings haven't been that great. There's a couple things that I noticed this morning was in the banking sector. Yes, J.P. Morgan, yes, Goldman Sachs, yes, they're all beating. But the one number that I kept looking at was their trading revenue. And their trading revenue was very bad. They weren't getting the numbers they needed to get in order to push the market a little higher. So if you're seeing trading revenues not come up to the same levels, that means that people like myself that are trading aren't trading. We're holding back, right? We're trying to see what's going on in the market, and if we're holding back and we're not trading, and we've also seen the largest pull money out of the markets last month, just regular retail traders, that's a telltale sign that something's happening in the market. And so yes, if you're asking me that question, I do think we're toppy here.
All right. And if there will be a pullback, do you think it's going to be a recession level? And if so, how would you trade that? Would you take your money out, or would you invest it, or put it under the mattress, as the saying goes?
BigBeat's trading rules, right? A couple things is always have powder. Meaning always have money available. So yes, I do say take some money off the table, and I always say leverage, right? So yes, no. Do I think we're going to see a recession as we did the Great Recession? No, of course not. Or the Depression, I guess was next question, maybe. No, the answer is no. And the reason being there is because we have trading locks to protect us now. In the past, they could just print more money as we did with TARP and other things, right? Well, I hope we don't need a TARP again. I have a good friend of mine that works in that office in Treasury. He does not also think that we're going to need TARP once again. But do I see a pullback? And yes, and if you're asking me the number, I do think it's between 15 and 20%. So yes, I do see a considerable pullback here. A 10% pullback would be what? 2,700 points in the Dow. So I'm thinking around 3,000 points.
Okay. Now, do you think a potential Fed rate cut can keep the momentum of...
Potential? I think there's a Fed rate cut. The question has been lately, is it going to be 50 basis points or 25 basis points? Even myself, I've been going back and forth, am I a dove or am I a hawk? I'm really neither one. I really don't care. I'm just making sure that I'm on the right side of that trade, right? And so in that situation, I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to say 25 basis points for sure has been baked into the market. So where the market is today, 25 basis point cut here in July has been baked into the system. Now, if it's 50 points, wow. There's two things to think about there. Yes, they're cutting it a little more, another 25 basis points. But they're also thinking the market's not so good either, that the economy's not so good. So they're trying to get ahead of the game before we hit that recession situation.
All right. Now, earlier you mentioned something about banks not doing so good. What are some of the big companies or big banks you recently invested in and made money in?
Zero.
Zero.
I have not put any money into any banks.
Now, also, in recent news, if you heard about the Facebook Lira, and
yeah, sure.
Libra and all the Bitcoin that's going on, do you think there's a comeback in crypto?
Absolutely. I think what's happening right now is that Congress is confused. I was watching the first, the debates in regards to they were hitting the Facebook guy up. One congressman didn't even know the difference between Libra and LIBOR. That was shocking to me, right? And I think the education level of Congress needs to be raised. Most people don't realize it, but LIBOR is the rates between the UK banking system, right? That is going away. In fact, we're very close to that right now. But Libra, which is the Facebook quote cryptocurrency, which it really isn't, because two things: it's centralized. It's not decentralized like a normal crypto, and it's being governed by Switzerland and 26 different companies, not just Facebook. It looks to me that Congress has just latched on to Facebook alone. Maybe there's a bias against Mark Zuckerberg, and of course we all have a little bit of a bias because it's our data out there that has gotten out there with Cambridge Analytics. So the question is it going to continue to go out? And I think that's a good concern, but not one that we need to worry about, especially not with Libra.
What would be your price projection if you had to say on Bitcoin?
So you're going to have to give me a time frame then. How about that?
I'd say by the end of the year.
Oh, end of the year. Look, it was 19,500 in 2017. The top here has been about 13.5. I will tell you, I wanted to get out. I did not get out. I'm still beating myself up over that. We're back to almost 10,000 again here. I do expect us to get back to 13.5 pretty soon, and quickly when people realize, when the education level catches up. But my end of the year, I'm going to say probably right around 14,000. And then, but if you're going to ask me longer term, which I know is the next question.
Do you see a 20 or?
I do, yes, of course, 20,000, and I do see 100,000 by 2022. So, and that's very simple because it's just supply and demand. You're going to see that happening coming up pretty soon here next summer. That means that it's going to cost more money to mine that Bitcoin out. And because of that, supply and demand, right? So you're going to see a jump in the crypto. As for myself, I've just been buying. So every dip, go.
Now, do you see cryptocurrencies eventually taking over the fiat currencies?
Wow. No, not right now. No. Very simple. That would be crazy talk, right? The fiats of the world are going to be remaining in place for many, many years, even after crypto has even moved up in stature, I think. But no, the U.S. dollar, the yuan, are all going to be the same. They're all going to be right there, the euro, the pounds. Now, do I think that crypto will be more mainstream in regards to using it as a payment device? Absolutely. We're already seeing that now. You know, the other day I just sent somebody crypto the other day. I sent them $100 US in Bitcoin, and it was very simple. It was like, here, what's your number? And I sent it to him. So yeah.
Now, what if banks say that they don't accept it?
They already do now. There are several banks that will not accept crypto. They'll say, you know what, we don't want to deal with this, and they don't. And it has been a problem. You know, that is one of the main problems with crypto now is the onboarding and offboarding of it, right? Is that in order to get into the crypto, and they say you have a Coinbase account, you still have to have a bank to get you onto the system, right? Now, what happens when that goes away? That's when things start to separate, right? When you no longer, you already have your Bitcoin, you don't care if the bank accepts it, because now you've got it in your phone or in your wallet, you know, your hard or cold wallet. So you don't care, right? Because it's just trading money at that point. Yeah.
So let's move up a little bit to the precious metal side of things.
Okay.
Recently, with the high world tension that was going around, I mean, you got tankers attacked, you have China.
Yep.
You know, so with all this going on, precious metals seems to be rising. What do you think on this sector?
Well, you know, what's interesting is when you look at metals in the past, times when things were bad and metal were rising, especially in the gold market, you know, what tensions brought the markets up, right? Right now we're seeing spot and futures gold right around $1,400 an ounce right now. That's not an explosive number, right? Do I see it going higher? I do see gold going higher. I do think tensions within China are moving higher as well. But is it enough to move gold to $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000 an ounce? I don't think so. Things would have to really get bad in order for that to happen. In the precious metal market, I will tell you that there has been a lag within platinum. And platinum, I think, will catch up to the palladium market. So with palladium being a little higher, platinum will definitely need to catch. I think we'll catch up.
Okay. Now, I also want to move a little bit further away now towards the cannabis. This is a very hot sector right now.
Yep, sure.
What do you see the sector being like in 5 to 10 years? Do you think that it's going to be legalized across the United States?
Yes. Yes. Obviously, cannabis has two issues there too as well. The first issue is legalization of it, whether that be medical or recreational. And the second problem with cannabis is going to be the commoditization of it, right? So when a state like Illinois passes recreational marijuana like they did, a state like Missouri will want to catch up. They don't want that tax revenue moving to another state, right? Yeah. So very quickly the rest of the country will catch up. Now there are some moral issues that many states will deal with, but for my own self, I don't use cannabis. But I will tell you, if it helps, you know, if the medical marijuana, absolutely. The recreational, I could care less. Absolutely pass it. Yeah. There's no reason for it. I do believe in taxing it though, like everything else, like every other alcohol and tobacco. Tax it and put the ATF on, you know, above it right there. Make sure and commoditize it. And in commoditizing it, all of a sudden the prices are going to start coming down, right? Yeah. And so I think that the market for cannabis, the investment market, say the stocks, have pushed forward. We're looking at PEs of 6 and 7 and 800 times. We're pushing into quarters so far way past the legalization of it. And so that's why you're seeing a pullback. The investment world was going crazy a year ago over it because they saw the potential, but they have pushed past the numbers that they should be in. I do see some M&A happening very soon. That's mergers and acquisitions within the system. I do see smaller cannabis organizations getting swallowed up very easily. The bigger companies, the Aurora Cannabis is out there, will be buying up smaller companies. So there is a lot of money still to be made in the buyouts.
Now, do you think it is because most of these bigger based cannabis companies are based in Canada, so they're not trading. They are trading in the U.S. markets, but most of the cannabis companies right now that are based in Canada are trading in the OTC. Do you think that scares them away? And do you think that also brings bigger companies like Aura to acquire companies in the United States?
Does it scare people? I don't think so at all. In fact, I think I'm very happy that Canada took the lead in bringing a lot of those cannabis companies out of the shadows and into the real world, into the Wall Street world that we know, right? Does it matter what exchange it's on? Absolutely not. It doesn't matter if it's on the Paris Bourse or on the CAC 40. I'm all about bringing them to Wall Street in any way, whether it be in New York or whether it be in Toronto. Two things there, I think also. I think you've got a situation where cannabis stocks, in Canada we have a deal where you have to take over another company's ticker, right? And so you've got a lot of dead companies that are going away, and you're starting to see the revolution from old gold mining companies all of a sudden have a new ticker, and it's a cannabis company. So it's showing the progression of, of the world in a way.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, folks, that's all the questions I had for BigBeat here. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, and we'll see you next time.